Hey, everybody, Reverend Rob, Tarot with an Attitude coming at you. Man, don't go anywhere. We've got a show. I've got intuitive reader and numerologist David Groode. Man, what a rock star clientele he has built. You are not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned. This is Tarot with an Attitude, featuring your host, tarot consultant and spiritual medium, the Reverend Rob Lee. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Tarot with an Attitude. I am your host, tarot consultant and spiritual medium, the Reverend Rob Lee. Bangarang, what you put out, you get back. Wow, what a show. I got to tell you about our guest, David Groode. David is an awakener and has been doing intuitive readings and numerology for over 30 years. I am so glad we have him here with us. Y'all hear me talk about numerology and the numbers and the cards all the time. He works with an international global clientele, and he has created a rock star career as an intuitive reader, supporting people to see what they can't see in order to achieve their dreams. You know, the clarity that comes through one session with David can take years to arrive at in your lifetime, making it a breakthrough acceleration towards healing and integration and taking your life to the next level. Wow. We're going to have all of his links and everything listed down below. So get ready. Are you ready? Here we go. David, welcome, my friend, to Tarot with an Attitude. How are you, sir?
I am great. Thank you for having me. So great to be here.
You know, you and I met doing some of this stuff and video editing and whatnot, and we just kind of had an instant connection right out of the gate. And
I know, you know what's so great? Because you're an Aquarian and I'm a Leo, and Leos and Aquarius is always break the status quo together. They make awesome friends.
that's that's funny because one of my best friends is a Leo, so that's actual funny. But you and I we had that connection, so that's really cool, and I'm glad to talk about that, folks. We are going to be talking about numerology and tarot, and David, numerology and tarot are very closely connected. Okay, why do you think that is, and how come that works well together?
You know, both of those systems blend really well, like surprisingly well.
Okay.
I would say I'm more comfortable with numerology personally than I am with tarot. Like I'll use tarot as a tool for myself, and I
Right.
have a profound fascination and love for tarot. But I'm much more comfortable with the numbers, which
Well,
is
that's cool because that's going to be a good thing because I want to talk about some of the numbers, okay? And I've got some cards here. We'll show them. And everybody, so you can see them. Let me bring this up. I like to show people whatever deck I'm using for the show. And this is the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann is exactly who we'll be using here. Let me make that a little bigger for you. And that way everybody can see it. Boom, little switcheroo. There we go. I love this deck. My wife doesn't like the artwork on this deck, but I love this deck. So that way, if you want to look it up, follow along, you can do that. If you've got it, grab it, and you can see what David and I are talking about together. So, you know, David, why is numerology important? What is it? Help me understand why numbers are so important.
so I learned so much from my numerology teacher who's now in the light. She's in the spirit world. And
Okay.
her name was Gail Marie Sprague. And she used to tell me this saying that's also in Faith Javane and Dusty Bunker's book that God geometrizes, that God communicates in geometric forms and symbols. And the numbers never lie. You know, I can always like look at what year people are in or what some of their months are. And I can always tell which months will be challenging and which months will be awesome and easy and why, because the numbers always tell me. Now in the book that is like my Bible in the numerology, It's called Numerology in the Divine Triangle by Faith Javain and Dusty Bunker.
Okay.
They give all the equivalents with the tarot cards and the numbers,
Oh, wow.
which
Okay.
is really interesting.
Yeah.
And
So, no, go ahead. I thought you were
no,
done.
they just communicate it so clearly, you know. They both offer perspectives that blend in and fit in so well together. They complement each other. They don't take away from each other.
And no, I agree. And matter of fact, it's kind of hard to imagine tarot without the numbers. I see oracle decks all the time where the numbers are just the number of the card. And what I always do when I grab a new oracle deck is I will go through it as I teach people to do with tarot or whatnot. But I will look at those and I will still take the number of that card and bring it together and see if it gives me a meaning, helps me with the oracle card, even though it wasn't designed that way. And a lot of times you can get some insight because of the way. Do you think those numbers just happen to be that way, or is there
No,
a divine intervention?
I think they're very specific and have their place and are put in directly and purposefully.
Okay. Question for you. And I
Yeah.
think I will tell you what I've told people, but I want to hear what you've got to say. When I teach people how to add up like a birth date, and we're going to talk about that because you already know I told you what my number is.
Uh-huh.
You know, people will say, Rob, why do we leave out the zero? Okay. Explain zero and why that causes.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Sometimes, okay, when you're adding up birthdays specifically, like if somebody's born on the 10th, you leave out the zero? Because I don't in the way that I add it up. I always
Okay.
include it as a 10 if their birthday's a 10.
All right. So let's say the birthday is let's keep the math easy, 2/10/1980. Okay.
So everybody adds it up differently. And this is the other thing that's like so confusing in numerology. But here's the joke of it all. The joke of it all is everybody's way seems to work in the way that they do it for them.
Right.
So how I would do it, you said 210?
2/10/1980.
Okay.
Trying
So
to
I
keep
would
some
add,
fairly even numbers and some zeros in there.
so I think there's a reason that they were born on the 10th day and on the second month. So I would add 2 plus 10 to get 12.
Right.
And what year did you say? 1980.
80.
Okay, so I would add 1 and 9 is 10 plus 8 is 18. And I would add 18 and 12 from the month and day, and I would get 30. That's how I would do it.
Okay. But then so are you saying then that 30 has a numerological meaning? Or do you take that
I would
down?
say 30 adds up to 3. So
Okay.
30 would be their life lesson number, and the 3 would be their life path and career number.
Okay. So 30 is their life number?
Life lesson number, yeah.
Life lesson number. So helping. All right. So like mine's a 5. I don't mind sharing. I'm not going to give away my date of birth. I've been hacked on
Yeah,
my
no
credit
worries.
cards too much. So,
No
but
worries.
we are going to say that when you add mine up, okay, when you break it down, it comes to a 5. Now, I don't know what the 2-digit is. I would have to, I can get there real quick.
We could talk about the 5.
Okay, let's talk about the 5 because
Okay.
that's what, and then what is, when you say life lesson number, what is
The
that?
life lesson number is the double digit before it gets added together.
Okay.
So once it gets added together, that's the life path number and career number.
All right.
In the way
So
that I
let's say
think
mine's
about
a
it.
32 because I come to a 5. Okay.
Okay. So five is a very exciting number because 5 is always moving and changing. And so 5 has to do with wisdom, and it has to do with experience, and it has to do with fluctuations of money and values, and or fluctuations of thinking. And 5 is also about integration, connecting all the parts to make a whole, WHOLE.
Right.
And so 5 is also technology, communications, and 5, the core issues of 5 always come down to freedom. How can,
Interesting.
how can I feel free to experience and explore and do everything I want to experience and explore? Because five likes to accomplish, but it's not the primary motivator. The primary motivator is freedom to experience and to
Wow.
share that wisdom.
Wow, that's me. And you know what's funny when we talk about that in tarot, if we look at the number 5 in the major arcana, that would be the Hierophant, which stands for that organization, that spiritual leadership, sticking to traditions and values. Okay. Um, but the 5 in all the other suits is actually the pinnacle. If you start at 1 and go to 10, you got 5 in the middle. And 5 with every suit leads to some type of conflict, some type of disruption, like, so what is that about? Do you know?
That's such a great question, and no one's ever asked me that question, and that's why it's just so off the charts brilliant. And this is how I want to answer that question because it's a really different kind of answer.
Okay. I love different.
So a lot of times when we're working with transforming our lives and or ourselves, we as a coach, because I do coach people too, I create an interruption in their life.
Okay.
And the interruption is to interrupt the habits and patterns that are already there,
All right.
to shift the thinking, to wake people up that there's some other possibilities at play that they can create with.
Isn't that amazing? And especially when you see that snap with somebody and you see their eyes kind of lighten up, like, you mean I don't have to own a home? I don't have to, just wow. What? And I
Yeah.
know
Like I
when
don't
I
have to
had
be
an
in this
express moment,
habitual routine day in and day out.
and I remember I was about 50 when I had that moment that I was like, wait a minute, this is y'all's world. I don't have to play by your rules. And then you start questioning everything, and that's not a bad thing. So wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So there's that 5 right in the middle, and I love that thought of interruption. So that's really cool, because when you look at the 5 of Swords, it's a conflict. It's somebody standing over, win the battle at all the costs in the mental world. Okay. 5 of Cups, I call it my grief card. All right, because they're crying over something they've lost, and they don't turn around and look at what they've got. The 5 of Wands, 5 different people fighting over
Yeah.
a point of view or whatnot. And then you've got the 5 of Pentacles, and it is somebody at their worst time needing help. So I mean, that's crazy about the 5. So now let me ask you this too, because this is really important. I know that all right, so we talk about numbers and symbols. That's tarot is numbers, pictures, and there are always symbols in there. Okay. Talk to me about combining the symbols with numbers. Because, like you said, yes, my wife does some of the sacred geometry, things like that. She's really into that, doing that now. How does that fit together?
So when I have a conscious moment, I consider what my intention is with what numbers I'd like to include in what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's on a conscious moment. So if I want to make somebody a peace offering with a
Okay.
card, because we've had a disruption or conflict or whatever, I thought about how many scratchies do I want to send them with the card as a peace offering.
So how do you arrive at that number?
Well,
Is it because I've got $10 and I can either send them 10 $1 ones, 2 $5 ones, or
I had to think about it. But I chose to do 2 5s for change because that would add up to 10, and
okay.
a $1 one to make it 11.
The first, what people call angel number.
Yeah. And so I'm going to be sending that with an apology note today to somebody who deserves it in one way. And
so help me with the 11 though. All right. Because again, I've read so much and it's, opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But your philosophy and things like that, I really appreciate it. So help me with an 11. Let's talk about an 11 because I get asked about seeing 1 1 1 1 1 all the time and that type of stuff. When you see 11, so like you said, you were doing the 2 5s for the conflict, which comes together.
I almost did a 10 for Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
But then I thought, 2 5s and changes, that's got to move some energy. And I really want to move the energy here. So I'm going to throw 2 5s in. And the other thing I wanted to say about 5 before we left it is
I'm sorry.
I look at 5 as adventure. And when we're open to adventure, we're open to spirit. We're open in our hearts. We're open for excitement and wonder and change. Okay. And we're flexible because we're on an adventure.
All right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So an 11 in that figuration. So you said you're going to do 2 5s and then you did a 1 to make 11. Why 11? Why did you want to bring that? What is the energy around an 11 that you were trying to create?
11 is connected to the angels. It's a visionary number.
Okay.
It's a number of justice. And if I could correct a karmic imbalance by apologizing, it would be like justice in a way. And 11 is very discerning. It has to do with discernment,
right?
Which is our ability to be selective about what we're choosing and why we're choosing it, and who inside us is doing the choosing.
That makes sense.
And I really needed to come from a place of owning it and owning my part of it to clean it up with this person, which was not completely easy for me because we had a bit of a differing of opinions in how things were communicated.
Okay. Well, no, I like that. And what's, again, the 11 in tarot in the major arcana, all right, is the justice card.
Yeah.
It is what I call my karma card, or I do a saying you've never heard me say it. We call ourselves the Barefoot Bangarang Tribe. And I use the term bangarang to try to get people to remember what you put out is what you're going to get back. And I stole that from the movie Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman, if you ever want to watch it, because you can actually get a spiritual meaning from that silly movie about freeing your mind.
Okay? And the other thing was, I was so triggered during the interaction with this person that I wasn't proud of my way of being through it afterwards.
Okay.
It left me heart sore.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to I really wanted to just take responsibility and clean up my part as best as possible.
Okay. That makes sense. So so you're using the numbers and taking an action. So it's not just waiting on something to happen. I talk to people about manifesting all the time. You took an action to generate an 11 number in the numbers of something. So you brought that into your life and into their life so it would actually generate something, whether it be subconsciously or consciously.
And even if I never hear anything back, I'm not doing it to expect to hear anything back. I'm just doing it to clean it up.
And you know what? I say that in giving, no matter why you're giving. I tell people that all the time. When I was doing counseling work, I was doing marriage counseling. I loved the scorekeepers. Well, I did this, so they should do that. You did this, I should, so therefore I have to do that. Are you doing it because you love them or because you're wanting something in return?
Right.
And if you love them, just do it. And if they're not giving back to you of their own, then it's time to give pause. Am I asking too much?
Here's a great question anyone could utilize.
Okay.
How can I restore the harmony within myself and in this situation?
You know what? Let's do this. Keep that question because we are going to ask it. I'm going to put this up on the big screen. How can I, whether you had an argument with somebody today or not, that is a common question. I feel lost within myself. I don't know where to go. I lack direction. So how can you restore harmony within yourself? Was that it?
Yeah, and in life.
And in life. Okay. So if we ask that question, we keep it simple. I'm only going to do 3 cards. Okay. And what I want to do is look at how the tarot cards come up and the numbers that present themselves with those tarot cards. So right out of the gate, we have a 6, the Lovers. Okay. Now, if we just look at the 6 of this first card, what does 6 mean if we're going to take it card by card? I'll put them all out there and then we can add them all up. Or do you want to see all 3 for the numerology? You need to see all 3 of them.
No, one by one is perfect. So 6, how I learned 6 is it represents the Divine Mother. The energies of beauty, healing, light, compassion, and unconditional love, and family and service.
Unconditional. I love that.
And so it's refining and perfecting things that help and serve and support others.
And you know what I find ironic about that and your interpretation of it, I love it. The 6, a lot of times I'll tell people, sometimes it's about an actual physical relationship. But sometimes it's about learning to love yourself. And you were talking about restoring harmony. And I look at this card a lot of time as representing commitment. And what I'm hearing you say in that 6 is that commitment to yourself and to your higher self, to the spirit, to God, to whatever it is you call it. I think that's really cool. So,
yeah, and it also goes with peace.
Okay.
And harmony and all those things we're talking about. So it's perfect.
Well, and that's what's funny. Okay. Number 1, in asking this question out of 3 cards, 2 of them are already major arcana cards. So, folks, that's your cue to listen up. These are here for a reason. These cards come out for a reason. The other cards, we call them the mundane. In these major arcana cards, these are things that can actually affect your life. So when we ask the question, what can I do to restore harmony in myself and in life? Now we've got a 6 followed by a 3, so and that being the Empress.
3
what's that?
3 expands everything it's with.
Oh, okay.
So 3 is romance, enchantment, and magic.
Right.
And it's creativity and creative expression. And it's a longer explanation, but there's 3 forces that we use to create as part of the creation process.
Right.
And 3 would be the third force, which is the grace. It's the neutral force, the force of grace. And three likes to dabble. Where 5 likes to experience, 3 likes to dabble and just
Okay.
check things out and see if it's a fit or anything, just to see. It's like the window shopping number.
Okay.
So it's a fun number. 3 can sometimes scatter and can sometimes overcommit, but it gives lots of interest and lots of different ideas and things to explore, and it's a fun number.
Very much so. And in the Empress, it talks about the Empress card in itself. For those of you who can't see the card, it's like Mother Nature pregnant, but the earth is her stomach. It's a beautiful card. I love this card with the moon upside and a full moon highlighted and everything else. So, and that's in that harmony. So we've got commitment to yourself, commitment to the world, and also then be willing to grow something. Like you said, dabble, try new things, try a
Yeah,
new train of thought.
the earth as the belly is beautiful because it's like our world is being rebirthed. We're in a process of the earth is in a process of being rebirthed.
Okay. So is that kind of the turmoil? Because birth can be a violent kind of process. So is that why a lot of people are at turmoil? They don't know where to go. They've kind of lost direction, do you think?
A lot of people have lost their connection with the earth. We're so plugged into technology, which has its place.
Yes.
But not everybody has a healthy relationship with it. And because of that, they become very disconnected from nature and don't spend enough time in nature. And it's rewiring us.
Okay.
And we get to think about how we want to be rewired so we're in harmony with the earth.
Wow. And when you look at these cards, starting with the Lovers, the 6 there, the 3, the Empress, Mother Nature, all of that. That's a hell of a story just in those 2 cards. If you think about it, when we're asking about how we restore harmony. Okay. And one of the things I tell people all the time is you got to fall back in love with yourself, and even before you can help somebody else. Why can't I get a relationship? Do you love yourself? That would be, the huge thing of, are you loving yourself? Now on the final card, we got the 6 of Pentacles, the Earth, the 6 of Pentacles.
I have to laugh a little bit about that. I have to laugh a little bit about that because it's a beautiful image, and those cards, the artwork, wow, it's so captivating and beautiful and magical. But I have to laugh a little bit because here I'm making a peace offering by sending scratchies, which have to do with pentacles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and folks, Pentacles talks about tangible, earth, money, finances, car, home. It is tangible. It's material. It's what's here we can touch. And now we have this 6 again. That the 6 is still the 6, but when you combine them all together, it's talking about we have to do this not just in mind and spirit. We have to bring this to earth. We've got to make it real. We have got to understand this goes beyond babbling off some little prayer and thinking everything's going to change. Whoop. I always talk with my hands. Sorry about that.
It's also really interesting to me because, I'm not like fluent in tarot like you are. But when I look at the image of that card, I feel an exchange occurring, an exchange of energy. And I feel an exchange of energy of different worlds coming together in different ways and being exchanged.
And in a lot of tarot decks, the Pentacles is a sign of giving back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get locked into that one meaning, but it could mean you need to allow yourself to receive. You need to allow yourself to give back. But for the folks who can't see it, it is one hand holding a pentacle with other hand reaching out to receive. And there is I forget the name of the figure 8, that is in there. It shows in the background. But it's about an interaction, an exchange of energy. I've told people sometimes, like, Rob, I need you to do this for me. Okay. And there are times when I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that for you right now. And like, what? It's not an even exchange of energy, because we need that. And you need to remember that. And I find out spiritualists a lot of times are the cheapest people on the planet, next to,
Sometimes, yes, unfortunately.
yeah, they want everything for free. Well, that, you're kind of violating what you're looking for. So
Yeah.
now let me ask you a question. Would you then look at this reading and add them all up? We got 6, 9, and 6 is a 15. Would you look at that 15 and
Hang
see
on.
to kind of form an overall?
Well, we have 2 of Tesla's 3 numbers that Tesla likes.
Oh, really?
Tesla liked the 3, 6, and the 9.
Wow. Well, we got it here.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Tesla worked with energy.
And you know what? And looking at this from a purely tarot standpoint, the 6, 3, 6, like I said, is 15. If I were to look the 15 up in the major arcana, that's the devil card.
Exactly. And
go ahead.
yeah, and my way of being through that interaction with this person was pretty shocking because I was so triggered.
Okay.
I just have to, I laugh about it, but it's not too funny. But I could see why I was triggered, and that's what I get to own.
I hear you. And one of the things, the devil card, I show people all the time when you see the devil card. Most of these people are wearing chains and there's a devil or something, but the chains can be easily removed.
Mm-hmm.
And us asking, how do I do this? Sometimes it goes right into what we were talking about, that 15. If you look at that 1 and a 5, it's you and this conflict that is a lot of times internalized. We cause it, and we can free ourselves from it if we will focus and figure that out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and this is my thing coming out of all of it to this point of getting ready to, send the scratchies with the apology card.
Right.
Is that I don't want my opinion about what I think is right or not right to be so strong that I can't be open for other viewpoints where I'm making other people wrong,
Right.
I need to be open regardless of how strong I feel about my viewpoint so I can be open.
You know what? You're singing to the choir on that one. Growing up the son of a Baptist preacher, all right, and living for many years in that environment of, because I said so, this is what we've been instructed. We've been, you have to believe this or there's tremendous consequences.
And those 3 cards you had together,
Yeah.
the Empress with the Earth as the belly was in the middle.
Yes.
And what's so fascinating is we can all be very different and have very different cultures and views and thinking and ways of being, but we all share this world together, and we're all children of God or of the Divine Mother.
Right. Well said.
And we all get to share this world and take care of it. And not be so invested in making each other and other people wrong. It really keeps people from waking up.
I agree. And I tell people all the time in teaching listening skills, when you're listening, a lot of times we listen to respond rather than listening to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that is massive. I don't have to agree with you. But if I be quiet and listen, and we can have, then I at least know where you're coming from, where we go forward, rather than building a wall that we can't get past.
Yeah.
So David, thank you so much for being here. I can't thank you enough. I mean, this is awesome. Folks, David, how do you want somebody to reach you? I'm going to put all your links. Everybody look down below in the description. All of David's links will be there.
So everybody's welcome on the social media. I have this life navigation series I'm doing on Gnostic TV. And then the other thing is my website is inner, INNER, precision, PRECISION.com. And if people are in the US, they can call me 707 area code 548-7500. And if you're outside of the US, feel free to text me. I can get international texts, or you can get my email off my website. And my number for texting me too is the same number, 707-548-7500.
That is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. And if you'll stick around, I'll talk to you in just a minute. Let me tell goodbye to the folks. Everybody, you know what? You know the drill. Smash that subscribe and like button, ring the bell so you can see more of this. Also, I want you to reach out to David. I'm going to reach out to him and set up a reading for me and my wife. It's one of those things. You know what? Well, why do you need it, Rob? Everybody needs help from time to time, and it's always good to link with like-minded people and to refresh and find a new way of thinking. That's why I wanted David on the show. So with all that being said, take what you want, leave what you don't, but leave having experienced some peace, love, and light. Bangarang! This is Tarot with an Attitude, featuring your host, tarot consultant and spiritual medium, the Reverend Rob Lee.